Hello everyone, this is Boone, and today I'll be going through Coast Guard 1357. Coast Guard 1357 is a duration of slack problem, and it was heavily requested that I make a video over this. So let's go through the problem. You will transit through the Cape Cod Canal on 7th November 1983. If you arrive at the RR Bridge at 1655 EST ZD plus 5, for what period of time during your transit will you have currents not more than 0.5 knots? There's a lot of information, so let's unpack it. First information is 7th November 83, just like every single other date in this problem. The time desired is 1655 ZB plus 5. For what period of time will you transit if you have currents not more than 0.5 knots? What period of time is a indicator that this will be a slack of tide problem. So to remember this, we're going to write 0.5 knots out to the side. You'll be using this in conjunction with table 4 later in the problem, but we need to remember this. This is not a daylight savings problem. And the location is RR Bridge. For those who don't know, RR stands for railroad. In the title reprints, it will show you what I'm talking about. So now that we have all of our information from the problem, let's go to the reprints. From the reprints, we're going to type in Cape Cod Canal up here. I'm also going to move this over. So this is not in the page range of the currents, and this is definitely a tide of high problem. We're going to go to the next. Not in the page range, not in the page range, not in the page range. Now we have listed reference stations. That is in our page range of currents. Now when we get to page 154 of the PDF, we see Cape Cod Canal, RR Bridge. This is saying that the RR Bridge is the reference station. So since the RR Bridge is our reference station, we don't need to account for anything other than what the problem gives to us. Even max flow direction, because title slack problems don't ask for direction. So we can just cross all this information out right here. And we can also cross out substation, so we know not to use it. Okay, so now we are going to a reference station. Since our date is November, let's head down to November. November 7th. I'm going to use the marquee tool to zoom in on November 7th. There we go. And wouldn't you know it, 1655 is its own given time. So we need to find the two flood and ebbs between 1655 to account for duration of slack. So our slack time is 1655. 4.8 is the ebb closest to it, and 4.6 is the flood closest to it. This, as just to show you what I'm doing, 1655, 4.6, and 1655, 4.8. They are the two flood and ebbs closest to 1655. Now that we have that information, we do not need any more information from this section for this problem. This is not a velocity problem, so we're going to skip over down to duration of slack. I custom made my own. This section might look a little bit different. It's from the other section of the other form for the duration of slack. I find this easier to use for duration of slack problems later on. I'll show you why. So times for maximum current will simply be our 1655. This will differ in other problems, by the way, where you will have two different times of maximum current. We also need to label one of these flood and one of these ebb. Now we have that. our maximum flood was 4.6 F and 4.8 F, taken from right up here. Now that we have that, we need to use table 4 to find our desired maximums, because it could differ depending on what table you're using. So we need to figure out which one to use, table A or table B. Table B should only be used for Cape Cod Canal, Hell's Gate, Chesapeake Bay, and since we are in Cape Cod Canal, we're going to be using table B. Now that we are using table B, we need to find which one 4.6 and 4.8 are closest to on maximum currents, and it can only be 5.0 because both of them round up closer to 5 than they do 4. Now that they round up closer than 5 than 4, we take the number that we took earlier in the problem, 0.5. We took that straight from the question itself. We bring that over and we use it with table 4. 5.0. Both of them are closest to 5. So 5.0, 5.0 are the closest desired maximums. So table 4, 5 and 0.5 line up with 13 minutes. So 13 minutes, 13 minutes. And as you can tell, the sum of the periods will be 26 and average out to 13 again. But since we need to apply, that'll be our, we don't need to use table 4 anymore. Now that we have 13, we need to divide this by 2. This is because our average period will be applied to both from and to. We get plus or minus 6.5 minutes. So we take our time of slack, which is 16:55, and we put it right here. And then we're going to subtract 6.5 and add 6.5. Now that we have that, the Coast Guard is weird about their rounding, but when you look at the answers, it can only be one of them. Let me increase the size here so you can see what I'm doing. So 55 minus 6.5 is 48.5, and in this case, the Coast Guard rounds down. But 55 plus 6.5 is 61, so we'll subtract the 60 and add the hour, so it'll be 17. And then we get 1.5. In this case, the Coast Guard rounds up. That is not consistent among their problems, but when you look at the answer choices, it is clear that it can only be C, 1648 to 1702. So even if you rounded down, or up on either of them, you would still find this answer to be the closest possible answer regardless. If you did this step by step correctly, then you will only get C. Hopefully this clears up confusion for this problem. Please let me know if you have any other questions regarding time of slack. Thanks again.